All right, here we go. Next up, the Super7 Deluxe Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Kimberly Pink Ranger. This is the metallic Pink Ranger, exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. So thank you to Super7 for getting this out a little early to me. These released November 1st on HasbroPulse.com. So links in the video description below if you'd like to get pre-orders in for these metallic Rangers. The deluxe concept of Super7 as opposed to the Ultimates version is less accessories, so a cheaper price point. So $20 less, $34.99. Compared to $54.99 of the Super7 Ultimates. But here, the cool thing about these deluxe figures that I absolutely love is the triangle boxes. So if you watch my review of the metallic Green Ranger, you'll know that it's all nostalgia. It hits every nostalgia checklist for me, because the old school toys came in these triangle boxes. How cool is that? Here we have Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. I will be doing a side-by-side comparison with the regular Super7 Ultimates Pink Ranger figure, as you can see here. I'm going to try and make this video a little bit shorter than that Green Ranger was. That one went a little bit longer than I had intended it to be. So we're going to get right into it. So we got the triangle box, looks amazing, recreates kind of the old school toy. Here we got the Pink Ranger in front, whereas the Green Ranger one had, guess who? The Green Ranger in front. So obviously, of course, they're moving it around. It does say Kimberly right there, the Pink Ranger. So looking at the back of the package, it reads the story. I'm not going to read that. I read that in the Green Ranger one, and my goodness, that was a long bio and took me forever to read. So if you want to read it, pause it, or you could go to Instagram and you can check out my pictures of it and can see it. But let's go ahead and get Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, the metallic Ranger, out of the box. Okay, so we have the Pink Ranger figure out of the package, and just like the Green Ranger, metallic Green Ranger Super7 Deluxe figure, this Pink Ranger hits all those nostalgia factors. The big difference, though, I will say, is the original toy line did not make an exception to the Pink Ranger figure being a different body mold, right? So the toys of old use the same figure for each Ranger and just change the heads, right? So the body was the exact same. I'm glad Super7 didn't take it that far in kind of recreating old vintage type toys, but with a modern twist. I'm glad they did not do that. So we have the skirt version of the Pink Ranger. One thing that this figure did that the metallic Green Ranger didn't do, which I did think was odd, so if you watch that review, I pointed this out. The dragon dagger on the Green Ranger was the regular, like, detailed one, and then just painted silver or silver molded plastic or whatever, because the old school toys didn't give us real cool, detailed looking accessories, right? It was pretty basic looking. So the Pink Ranger, her specific weapon, the power bow, they did give us kind of the generic old school toy version. So it's not the very detailed. Doesn't look like the actual power bow or anything like that. It's like the toy version there. And I kind of appreciate that. I actually like that this is the version we got. I wish the Green Ranger actually came with that generic looking dragon dagger. I think that would have made more sense, because we're talking about throwback homage to the original toys and all that. So this makes sense to me, and I dig it. It's not the ideal, but if you want the good power bow, get the Ultimates figure. That's, it's loaded with way more accessories than this. But this one, it makes sense to me, and I dig it. The power blaster is the white version, with the hole in the side, because in those original toys, like pegged into, it pegged into the hand, right? The hand had a peg, so you could put the power blaster in the hand. These have grip hands, so you can actually just put the power blaster like in her hand, as if she's firing it, so that's not going to be an issue there. But yeah, so anyway, let's go ahead and get in for a closer look at Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. We'll look at that power coin design. I keep calling it power coin. I don't know what the design, I guess just the emblem logo on the front. That's what, the old toys had that, so that's why these have it there. So let's zoom in. Okay, so here we have an up-close look at the Pink Ranger, and this looks pretty good. With the bright lights, you could really see kind of the shine to it. It's almost like got this like satin sheen to the figure to kind of represent the metallic look. The Power Ranger, the Hasbro Lightning Collection gave us like a glittery effect, and then Bandai gave us like a semi-translucent metallic looking type pink or type plastic. But here we just get that little shimmer and shine to it. So very flat colors on the Ultimates figures. little bit darker on these deluxe ones, but the shine to it does stand out real nice. So again, flat of the original Ultimates, and then a little bit of shimmer and shine, as you can see with the Hasbro Pulse exclusive deluxe versions. So here we get the pterodactyl emblem there on the chest. The original toys, that's what we had seen. The belt here is the pterodactyl power coin. However, it is just painted red in the front. The reason for that is the original toys just basically had a red plastic dot there as opposed to like an actual morpher. So even though the skirt is specific to the Pink Ranger and we have the power coin in there, it is just painted red as opposed to the full morpher being painted of like the Ultimates line. So that is some of the difference there. But again, homage to the original toy line. I dig it. That's what I kind of like that's going on here. And then here's an up-close look at that power bow. That's just all silver power bow. That's not detailed in any way. But again, throwback to the original toy. That's what these figures represent to me. And I know Super 7... you know, Super 7 can be very divisive. There's people that that love Super 7, people that don't like Super 7. One thing that I think is important to note is that Super 7 is really all about nostalgia, kind of recreating those toys of old. So think about a vintage toy with a modern twist, or a modern toy with a vintage twist, kind of the same concept, right? And that's what we got going on here. So this power bow kind of throwback to those original toys and how it wasn't quite the perfect bow and arrow set that you would want for Kimberly the Pink Ranger. And then like the power blaster just being all white, not painted detail. That's what the original toys had these. So you know that's what is there. And fun fact, since we're taking a stroll down memory lane, the 8-inch Power Rangers figures had big huge blasters, right? And I don't know why, for whatever reason, like if you have ever seen Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, Kevin gets 2 turtle doves from the toy store guy, and I can't think of his name, Duncan, right? Mr. Duncan. The 2 turtle doves, for whatever reason, I always, and this is really weird to say, but you know, those old power blasters were so large, I would, you know, you would have a couple of them because you got all the Rangers. So I'm like, had 2 of them. I'm like, oh, these reminds me of those turtle doves from Toy Story. It's weird, but hey, I was a kid, I was young, so that's my excuse, because you know, with these figures, I just go right back to my childhood. But there is the Pink Ranger, as you can see, painted pretty nicely. One thing to note, though, on the waist, I do get some silver paint rub on there. So that is unfortunate. I think that's because, you know, the skirt piece is a little rubbery, whereas the Green Ranger wasn't going to have any kind of paint rub or silver on there because it didn't really rub up against a rubbery surface, whereas this belt was actually a harder piece. But on the Pink Ranger, it is a skirt piece, so it looks like some of that paint rub is coming off at the waist. So just heads up there. But now let's go ahead and zoom out for the articulation. Okay, so the Pink Ranger, her head is on a disc hinge, so she can look up all the way. That is fantastic. She can look down that much there. That is really good. Full rotation in that head. Not really any pivot going on in there. The arm you can get to go straight on out like so, which is good. You get a full rotation in there. You have an upper bicep swivel. Single jointed elbow gives you 90-degree bend there at that elbow, and then you also do get a swivel at that elbow. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge on these 2 grip hands that she comes with that are on the figure. The diaphragm cut, as you can see there, you can tilt to her left quite a bit. That is great. You can tilt to her right quite a bit. That is great there. Going back in total with the ball joint at the waist, she can lean back that far. Coming forward is not going to be a whole lot there, but that's probably most female Marvel Legends figures. You get a swivel at that waist, and then you don't really get any turn at that diaphragm. So you get a swivel at the waist, which works out well. And then adding in that ball joint waist, she could tilt to her right that much there in total, and then it doesn't really want to shift left, and I think that's going to be because of the power blaster holster getting in the way there. Legs go out that far apart. The skirt piece does hinder a little bit. You can kind of force it a little bit, but you can go out that far apart. Kicking forward is going to be very limited because of that skirt piece, so just a heads up. Leg going back tiny bit. Thigh swivel looks like it's more than the male Rangers, but not a whole lot in there. Single jointed knee gives you 90-degree bend at the knee. You have a boot swivel in there. Foot hinges down all the way. You get a little bit of hinge up. Ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So this is actually, well, no, I had the yellow Ranger. But this one has the added skirt. I was going to say I haven't reviewed a female Ranger figure because I didn't review all the Super 7 Ultimates. I have the entire Ranger team in the Ultimates versions, but the Pink Ranger I didn't even open until literally just before this video so I could do the side-by-side comparison, which we're going to do right now. Okay, so the full side-by-side comparison, we can talk about all of the differences that we have here. There are less paint details in there. Part of that may be because it's a deluxe figure versus the Ultimates figure, but I think more so it's going to be because the nostalgia throwback to the original toy line, there were much less paint details on there. So we don't get the black soles on the boots like we did on the Ultimates version. We don't get the white outline on the skirt piece. It's just all pink. And then, obviously the black trim on the holster and the belt, and then the painted Morpher. Whereas on the deluxe figure, we get, again, just the silver buckle, silver belt and Morpher to go along with the original toy line. And then we get the Pink Ranger pterodactyl logo there on the chest because the original figures did. So those are the differences. And then obviously the Ultimates come loaded with accessories, a bunch of extra hands, actually good power blasters and good power bow. Whereas the throwback to the original toys, we get those recreations of those old school toys there, which, again, I dig and appreciate. So that is the difference between the Deluxe versus the Ultimates. Okay, so far in the Super 7 Deluxe Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Metallic Rangers, I have pink and green here side by side. Again, these are exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. They release on November 1st, so get your pre-orders in now. Links in the video description below. You guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of these Super 7 Deluxe figures? Do you like that there's a cheaper price point compared to the Ultimates? Or do you like that they went with the Metallic Rangers? Or is it really about that throwback, that homage, that nostalgia factor to those original toys? For me, it's every single one of those. Paying less for a figure, great. I love it. The old school toy feel from when I was a childhood, love it. So all those things really check the boxes for me, but you guys give me your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.